do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. F- it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
All right.
Fucking thing sucks.
In 5, 4, 3.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate you being here. I'm going to do a direct recording over here on the live stream and just drop it over to YouTube with minimal editing. But you know how YouTube is. Also, there's just some things I can't upload to YouTube anymore. I know you guys on Rumble know this. I know you guys on Locals know this because you're watching me here on one of those two places. But as a reminder to the people on YouTube, or if you're watching YouTube content, make sure to either subscribe, like, dislike, or leave a comment. Interact with the video in some way, because YouTube has decided if you just watch a video and don't interact, it doesn't count for the content creator, and thus the ads you watch and all the money that you're sitting there making for the content creators, YouTube will keep it. So make sure to like, dislike, comment, or subscribe to the channels you love to keep your content creators up and running so you can enjoy their content from here on out. Okay, so today you're going to see one or two thumbnails on YouTube at least, because they let us test thumbnails and which one you cretins like the most. It'll be the shocking future for the Boss Bee women, or broken, barren, and forever alone. And both are very accurate, and we're going to go over that because I've got from Hollywood all the way down to the girl next door, what these women are going through, what they're doing to themselves. And we've talked about this multiple times. We've talked about it, but it's fun. We're going to keep talking about it because maybe there's hope for Gen Alpha and Gen Z. Gen Z men are swinging 18% more conservative than the past generations. They're waking up. They're deciding they're not on the train for the Boss Bee broken women. And, so maybe there's hope for at least the youngest among us. And then at the end of this, I'm not going to put this part on YouTube because I can't. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do it for just the locals only, because you guys pay my paycheck by being supporters over there. I had AI scrape through all of Yana's articles and give us a body count for all the dudes she slept with and who they were and what it was all about. It's so fun roasting this poor stupid dingbat. Anyway, we'll roast that. And then I've got about 10 dating profiles of the day, all the way down to the beautiful, gorgeous women out there that are telling you no, they don't want to date you on the dating apps. So that'll be all the way over for supporters over on betterbachelor.locals.com. Links are straight down below, everybody. This is Kate Beckinsale. Now, if you know Kate Beckinsale, she's kind of spicy. Beautiful woman in the past. And she's been in movies like Underworld, all the Underworld series. She was in Click as the wife. She's been in Pearl Harbor, Van Helsing, Primo, and, of course, the newer Total Recall. And this is what she looked like as of just 2 years ago over on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. And you can see, again, she is a beautiful woman. As a matter of fact, this is her just about the time she did the Van Helsing shot, or the Van Helsing movie, I think, right around that time, slightly after. So this is like a year or two after she did the Van Helsing. Now, remember, this is 2023. Right here, I took the screenshot from the article to make sure that you saw I wasn't lying. This is from the Tonight Show 2023. And smash cut to what she looks like now in 3, 2, hope you didn't eat lunch. Booyah! There is the brand new Kate Beckinsale. So life comes at you fast when you hit that wall. Now she's basically a skeleton with skin and tattoos and a lot of plastic in that face. That's the only thing holding up to the test of time. She's even got the chicken skin on the neck. Whew. She fell off just a little bit. But the reason why I use these Hollywood actresses is this is the best case scenario. And what I mean by that is these women have personal trainers. They have makeup artists. They have hairstylists. They have dietitians. They have all the best money can buy. This is the best money can buy you when you hit the wall. So for the average woman that can't afford this and isn't in the limelight, what do you think it's going to look like when they fall off? And you can see here she is. This was the thumbnail I used. I bet you'd never thought in your life you'd ever say, man, I'm glad I cannot see up those shorts and that it's covered in shade. Whew, oof. Glad I don't actually get a peek up that. I'm glad it's covered in shadow. But you'll notice something, okay? Her face still has a lot of plastic and it's very whatever. But look at her cat. Her cat, she's got a white cat that she's dyed pink. And in a later shot, somebody put this, somebody put this, a THAT1, Fat One, said something is definitely off with Kate Beckinsale. And you can see she's here she's putting makeup or something on her cat, sitting alone in front of a little fireplace. She's not, this is the crash at the end of the road, man. This is when you get to the one-way dead end straight of life. This is what these women are looking at. This is not a good time. And there's weird music playing over it. But when she paused here, it was weird because I'm looking at her plastic face and the hair like this. And I said, this reminds me of something. And I couldn't remember the movie. I couldn't remember the scene I was looking for. Of course, I dipped into AI and I just described the scene and everything. And it told me exactly what I needed to know. It reminds me of the alien from Mars Attacks, where it's got this fake thing and, of course, the big glass globe underneath the hairstyle. And I said, Kate is kind of looking like that. It's all kind of poofy at the top. She's got the plastic frozen face. Kate Beckinsale is turning into the alien from Mars Attacks. That is the end of the road right there. And of course, you remember our famous. Now I'm going to go over the Hollywood stuff, and then we'll dip down a little bit lower. But as you remember, famously, Charlize Theron back in 2019, 6 years ago, came out and she said, "I'm shockingly single, and somebody just needs to step up, grow a pair and step up." That was 6 years ago, everybody. In those 6 years, how many relationships has she had? Zero, or in technical terms. And so while she's raising her two boys that she has decided are actually young women, because she wants to parade them around like a fashion purse, and of course that means they have to be part of the LGHD TV community, she's been shockingly single over the last, I don't know how many years, 6, I guess it is. So, and now she's, of course, 49. Is this the original article I was looking for? I think so. Yeah. So Charlize Theron, 49 years old, raves about her really effing amazing one-night stand with a 26-year-old. For some reason, women think this is a brag. Now, when men do it, it is a brag. When someone like Leonardo DiCaprio, when he's sleeping with young hot models, that's a brag, because he's not sleeping with Taco Bell waitresses that are good looking. He's sleeping with like models and musicians and actresses and people of worth and value that are under the age of 25 that are smoke shows. And he's, I don't know, 50 something or other. When Charlize Theron does it, what she doesn't understand is she is a warm dock for a man to park his cold boat into. Also, you get to tell all your friends after a few drinks at the bar, you banged Charlize Theron, even though you don't have to admit that it was at the age of 49. But the reason why this is so notable, and this just came out on the Call Her Daddy podcast, she said, "Oh, I recently banged a 26-year-old. It was really amazing, and I've never done like that." And I was like, okay, this is great. Look, she looks pretty good in this photo. She's not, she's not horrible on the eyes or anything like that. I think I know probably 90% of you out there, on my locals channel at least, all you depraved idiots out there, I know most of you'd be like, well, yeah, why not? I would definitely, 49, I don't care. I'd just be able to, and I can't get her pregnant and all the other stuff you weirdos come up with. But she says here, I should have done this a long time ago in my 20s. So even she's like, I should have racked up my body count. I should have. But what she doesn't understand is this is the end of the road. Why do you think she's shockingly single and no one wants to date her? Why do you think that no one wants to get into a relationship with her? Because they don't want to be a part of this mess. This mess specifically we're looking at here. A 49-year-old hit post-wall woman that's raising 2 children of darker skin color, shall we say. So that definitely is going to grab attention. It is. I mean, we can say it's wrong or whatever else you want to. It is going to get attention. It is something that women are judged for. And at the same time, they're two young men that are being paraded around as if they are women. And so what she doesn't understand is no one wants to be a part of this. No one wants to carry this luggage. No man wants to carry this luggage around in his life. What he does want to do, however, is raw dog Charlize Theron. There is a difference. And she looks at this as a moment of pride, as do all these women. All these women. Oh, it's a moment of pride. It's so excited. I feel entitled. I feel strong. I feel empowered. I'm stunning and brave. This is amazing. Not realizing you're still only being used literally as a fun toy. Because I am going to put this on YouTube later. You're just being used as a pretty fun toy for a man to relieve himself and then move about his day. And he, in the meantime, is like, dude, I just hooked up with Charlize Theron. I didn't have to pay for anything. I don't have to be a daddy to her kids. I don't have to put up with her. I don't have to do anything. I just got a hookup, and then I moved on with my life. And she, in the meantime, is bragging about it. So as a young guy and as a man looking at this, where women just want to hook up and their lives are in such a mess, what about if you get them younger? What if you say, you know something, I'm going to get married young. I'm going to get a wife early on in life, in my early 20s. I'm going to be a good man to her. She's conservative. We're going to get married. We'll raise 3 children. We've been married 12 years. Life is I'm winning life. I'm winning life. That could be coming out of your mouth about 2 seconds before your wife files for divorce because she's bored. Now, this is a post about a woman getting divorced because he's the perfect man. Now, when you say he's the perfect man, how can you then divorce him? How can you then leave him? How can you leave your family? How can you break up your family when you have 3 children? How is that a thing you're doing if he's the perfect man? But it doesn't stop them. They're just going to do it anyway.
I told my husband I wanted a divorce. I walked myself through the logistics of where would I live? How would we split the time with the kids? Who gets the dog? I feel like I have been searching for something in my relationship that we don't have for the whole time we've been married, which has been 10 years. There is not a single thing about my husband in and of himself that I do not love. He is the most self-disciplined, loyal, hardworking, good person that you could meet on this planet. Our relationship and what my expectations are for my marriage and what they always happen are not met. I can't be myself with my husband. And it's really confusing because I'm 32 years old. I am a mom of 3 and I still don't know who I am.
2015, before all the craziness on the internet with TikTok and all the rest of it. So there was still some. Let's not pretend it didn't exist. But there was a whole lot less social media attention on being a boss bee and going out and doing your whole thing. Her channel's name is Excel Motivate. So she's EM, Excel Motivate. And here a guy, they got together at 22, they got married, they had the 3 kids, and what's happening at 32? She realizes there's a finite time for her beauty, and instead of appreciating the husband for who he is and what he's done, she needs to boss B. She needs to go out and discover herself. And what does that mean? She sees these young women that are going out there sleeping with hot dudes at the gym. More than likely, there's been some interest in her from another guy, either at the gym or at work or something like that, where he probably wants to hook up. He's good looking. He's muscular. He's different. He excites the tingles and the butterflies, and she needs to jump ship. My argument, when I hear from the Matt Walshes and the conservative group, especially over at the Daily Wire, but mostly the Matt Walshes of the world and the Ben Shapiros and the guys that like to pretend they understand red pill stuff, but they don't because they've been married and they're very religious and all the other things. How do you, when this happens, it's much like what happened to Steven Crowder. Now, you can say what you want about Steven Crowder. I know some of you guys don't like him but whatever. But the point is, he said, very famously, I picked the wrong woman. I picked the wrong woman. How do you know you picked the wrong woman? As a man that's 22 years old, that goes out and finds a girl that maybe doesn't have a huge count, a bunch of notches on her belt or her headboard, whatever you want to say. How do you find that girl? Maybe she didn't have a bunch of them. She says yes to you. You're engaged. You get married. You have 3 children. You're a good man. She says she loves you and that you're wonderful and awesome and all the rest of it, okay? And then one day she just walks in and she says, I can't be myself around you. I need to explore. Now, we know what explore is. Explore is a 6'2" big black dude who's hung like a Shetland pony, and she wants to go hang out with explore and get explored. That's usually the way this goes, is interest from another man. How do you, my question to the conservatives out there and the men that say, oh, you just need to get married and society's falling apart and find a good woman. Okay, they did that. He did that. And she even says, he is literally a perfect man for me. What is your recourse? How do you solve this? There is no, well, you should have worked on yourself or you should have been better at this. Or she admits he's perfect. There's no recovery from this. And as a man, now you've got a broken home, you've got 3 children, and if she decides to take the children, you're probably going to lose that battle. If she wants child support and child custody and, depending on where you live, alimony, she's probably going to get that. How do you recover from this? This is always my argument. Look, I get the guys out there that say, oh, we met at a bar and we hooked up and we partied and all this other stuff. And I've got a story kind of related to that. As a matter of fact, I can do that next. I was going to save this to the end, but I can do this next, where you say, hey, I did everything right. So it's not like he picked a party girl. It's not like he picked the bad girl. He did it right. If those guys are losing, what chance do the rest of us have? I will jump to this because I was going to do this a little bit later on, but this is fitting for right now. Let me zoom in on this. This is from a throwaway account on Reddit, of course, because they never want to admit their actual names on this. This is 22 hours ago. I took this screenshot a couple days ago, but this is in the last week. She says, I'm 27 female, my fiance, who's a 30 male, and I just had a terrible fight over sex, and now I'm not even sure we're getting married anymore. She says, I'm sorry if this is going to sound panicked and frantic, but we just had this fight barely 12 hours ago, and I'm still afraid and terrified. My fiance and I are planning to have a wedding this upcoming Saturday. We've invited nearly 100 people. We've planned this wedding for months and months. Everything is looking perfect. Yesterday in the afternoon, my fiance started making moves on me where his mood was clear that he wanted to sleep with me. I told him I wasn't exactly in the mood, and he got irritated because we haven't slept together for a while, and he felt like this wasn't satisfying his needs. I told him that I'm just not a super high libido person, and he immediately said, yeah, a woman who's had sex with over 100 men is definitely low libido. I was absolutely stunned and demanded he apologize on the spot. Instead, he doubled down and said that I'm clearly a sexual person, but it's just not for him. And he has had insecurity and low self-esteem issues before in regards to this. Now, what happens? This is a case where you can say, well, yeah, of course you're going to break up. Of course she's going to leave you. Of course she's not going to be interested in you because of her body count, 100+ men. But what do you do when you've been the good man? What do you do when you've done the things the right way that society has told you? It doesn't matter. They all see the TikToks. They all see the crap online. They all become boss bees. They all become the broken, damaged women that are insistent on breaking everything apart until they're left alone and miserable. And then they wonder, why did men do this to me? That's literally how this goes. So as a man, if you get yourself in this situation, you're getting ready to get married. And I've been married twice and divorced twice. I've been down that road. I do understand this. Before the wedding, before the actual marriage, usually the woman is very excited she's getting married. She's going to get the ceremony and everybody's sending her flowers and pictures and congratulating her. This is probably the most excited for the bedroom a woman will ever be, is 3 to 6 months before the wedding. I know this firsthand. I know this, many of you will probably agree with me. That's the ramp up excitement time. She's always in the mood. It's always a good time. If you're in a relationship and she's saying no right before the marriage, you know it's going to go. It's going to dry up. It's going to be gone. And he gets it. At least he gets it. And he said, hey, you wanted these 100 other guys. You wanted to be with all these men. And you were with all these men, 100 plus of them. And now you don't know. Now you don't want me. Of course he's going to feel very inadequate because you slept with literally everybody else. And now you don't want to give it up to your own fiance. So anyway, she says, that caused me to get angry because I told him all of that stuff about my past relationships because I trusted him and I didn't want it thrown in my face. Well, yeah, but you had 100 of them. It should be thrown in your face. And you found a guy that would accept you even with a body count of 100, and she's still going to mess that up. You found a simp that would put up with you with 100 body count, and you're like, nope, I can't even hold on to that guy. The UK pop star Lily Allen, so this is a musician. I can't remember exactly how many baby deletions she's had. Okay, so if you can't remember how many times you've walked into a doctor's office to yeetus the fetus, I guarantee you don't remember how many times you were pregnant because each one of those was terminated. So you don't know how many times you were pregnant, which means you don't remember how many men you've slept with, obviously. Because if you can't remember a big event, like actually going into a doctor, having your legs thrown up into a stirrup and having a baby deleted, if you can't remember that number, I damn well know you don't remember how many men you've slept with and all the other things you've done in your life. And the worst part about it is they were laughing as they were describing this. This is, to me, this is the lowest level of broken a woman can be. Look, we can talk about women deciding, oh, I didn't want to be married and I want to go sleep with a guy down at the gym. Yes, I've had a ton of body count. Okay, all that's broken. I get it. We can talk about the women that want to run a key down the side of a car because a dude ghosted them after, sleeping with each other for a couple weeks. I get all of that. And that is very broken. But at the very base rung, the deepest, darkest, lowest levels of hell, that rung of that broken ladder is a woman laughing because she can't remember how many babies she's deleted. That to me just, well, there's society for you. I'm going to stop the world right here. I'm going to get off at the next left. UK recording artist Lily Allen said she does not remember how many baby deletions she's had. Allen, who hosts the Miss Me podcast on the BBC. Now, there you go. That's a perfect summary. She's on the British Broadcasting Channel. She's on British podcasting. It's not her own show. It's the BBC. And she's laughing about this. State-funded or government-funded media is putting this kind of content out there. That goes to show you not only are these women broken, the government's broken. The people that give these podcasts money are broken. The women that sign off on this stuff are broken. All of them are broken.
And I just remember before that was a complete disaster area. Like I was just, I'd get pregnant all the time. All the time.
Were you fertile like me in those days?
Oh, yeah.
Because, I said today to someone, I was like, I actually don't know if Lily's had an abortion. I didn't know. Okay, God. See, why didn't we talk about that?
I've had a few, right. But then again, I can't remember exactly how many.
What, really?
Yeah.
Why didn't this come up in...
They're laughing about this. Man, do you understand? Look, this is why many of you have noticed I've been doing fewer videos lately. I used to upload 60 a month. I did 2 a day, 30 days a month. I did 60. I think this past month I've done 10 or 15. Do you understand how watching enough of this content, and me as a content creator, now I know you guys get enjoyment out of it. I try to make it funny and interesting. But as a man quietly sitting, watching this content, watching these women, a lot of it doesn't make it to a video. But I still watch a lot of this stuff. And I watch this, and every day a little bit of part of my soul blackens for the future of humanity. It really does. My soul is bright and shiny. I am undamaged by all of this. But there is a point in time where you watch this and you just realize, my God, humanity is so screwed. The humankind is in such a downward spiral.
I can't remember. Yeah, I think maybe like, I want to say 4 or 5.
Yeah, I've had about 5 too. Lily, I'm so happy I can say that and you can say it and no one came to.
These women single-handedly have deleted a basketball court, not a team, a court. You could have an active NBA team on the court and remove all of them from the planet, and that would equal the number of lives squished out by these 2 women alone because of their... How broken is this? How broken is humanity? So far we've got celebrity, we've got, the person posting on Reddit. We've got Miss Thing here that we've got pop stars. We've got some rando chick writing a story. And now your average TikTok influencer. This is from whatever podcast. They were talking about why is hatred of men accepted, allowed, and tolerated? If the roles were reversed and it was a man saying this about a woman, he would be canceled for misogyny and have his video account taken down. And that is correct. I can't argue with that. That's not the only part I want you to hear about this, but this is part of it. The constant male bashing that occurs on TikTok and X and all the rest of it. These accounts are allowed to stay up. They're allowed to be active. But if a man does the same thing, there's a brigade against him and he's removed from Twitch or he's removed from Twitter or wherever. Not Twitter, but he's removed from Reddit. He's removed from Instagram. He's removed from TikTok.
If I end up in the happiest, most loving, healthiest relationship, married with kids, whatever it is, I can promise you I will still hate most men. And that is something that I genuinely don't think will ever change because there are so many men that treat women so badly. If I truly find one that is just like the outlier that genuinely treats me good and treats other women well, he's just one of the good ones. That's not going to change my outlook on the majority of men and the way that they go about their lives in society. I truly don't care that I feel this way about them because I didn't create these feelings. They did. And before anyone's like, oh, who hurt you? Who hurt you? People hurt my friends. People hurt my family. People hurt my clients. I have been hurt. I have had my fair share of hurt from men, but I've also had so many stories and experiences from other women where it's very hard to put men in a good light. It's very hard to trust men.
I hate men. All the men hurt us. All the men are evil. All the men do awful things. All the men, all the men, all the men. They're never, ever talking about all the men. Do you think she would go out with me, you, most of us? Would she go out with us? No. You're too short, you're too bald, you're too fat, you're too this, you're too poor, you're too whatever. She's talking about the 5%ers. They all talk about the 5%ers. I'm not going to go down that diatribe again. We always talk about it. But all the men that hurt her are 5% of the men, and the rest of the men are invisible. Don't tell me they're not broken. And they hate you. They come right out and they just say they hate you. They hate you for nothing you've ever done to a woman. They hate you for what other men have done to a woman, but now they just see all men as a glob of human manness or something. I don't know. From French OG. And what are the results of all of this? Well, this woman's finding out. She says, men aren't approaching women anymore. Why would we? What are you bringing to the table? You are broken. You are mentally boss bees. You are damaged. You don't want anything to do with us until you do, and then we're not good enough for you. I'm doing the hand thing that the women do.
Dating is hard as a single woman. It is awful. It's honestly worse than I could have ever imagined.
Yeah.
What?
It was easier being single at 19 than it is as a 25-year-old.
That's fucking crazy.
Wait, why though?
I feel like guys used to have so much confidence and they'd approach you. Like, I don't know, when you're younger, it's just so much easier. I
They
feel
haven't
like
been rejected as much.
yeah. And
She nailed it. She nailed it. Now, that went by very quickly, so you might not have heard it. So the young girl's saying at 19, I got asked out all the time. At 25, I'm not. And this chick right here actually called it out perfectly. Ironically, the woman got it right. She says they probably haven't been rejected as much. And that's exactly it. That's exactly it. The men at 19, you're in high school, you're all kind of in the same swimming pool of dating. You're in high school. You've known everybody probably from middle school. You've grown up with them. You know everybody's story. You know who the girls that sleep around. You know who the good girls are. Like, people will ask you out. They'll ask you to dances. They'll ask you to do things. Afterwards, what happens to a young man between the ages of 19 and 25? He hits the real world. He gets out in college. College girls hooking up with older dudes. College girls hooking up with dudes from another college. College women, whatever, right? And eventually those men find out, I don't have a shot at this anymore. I do not have a prayer. Why would a man keep banging his head into a wall over and over and over again when it's not working? Young men are wisely giving up. They understand what's going on. And this girl, and let's also face it this way. This girl might have been pretty good looking for her school. She is very mid at best in the rest of the dating world. So the guys that she may have had a chance with in high school, maybe she went out with a couple athletes. Maybe she went out with a couple of guys that were more popular. But now that she's in the real world and the pool of dating just got to be almost infinite, well, now she's not really that good a catch. And so the guys she's used to dating, the guys she wants to be with, they're with prettier, better women.
it's just so much easier. I
They
feel
haven't
like
been rejected as much.
yeah. And now I'll go out and I'm like, woo, I'm going to get some attention tonight. And no one speaks to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, am I the most hideous human in the world? Like,
No. Me and Cass always speak about this though. Like,
the bar is in hell.
we've spoken about this a lot of times, and it seems like it's an issue that's getting more and more traction. Like, it's not actually getting solved.
Of course it's not. Of course it's not getting solved. Of course it's not getting any action. Why would it? You at the root of all of this, and this is why I'm always doing this content, and I try to show new people constantly. Here's something new. Here's something new. It's an ever-ending flow of broken people sailing through your life, our life in general. It's just a bunch of broken people, and my hope is you decide not to be part of that brokenness, right? That you decide, I'm not going to go buy a bunch of expensive clothes. I'm not going to buy an expensive watch. I'm not going to go buy a fancy car. I'm not going to worry about how much money I make. I'm not going to go to college to get a degree to do something that pays a lot of money, but I'm not happy with. My hope is that you actually say, I'm not going to be part of this rat race. And Joker constantly shows me how bad it's getting and how bad society is getting broken. And yes, it's not just me, it's all over the place now. But the point is to refresh your memory, to constantly remind you, look, you want to date? Go for it. Be careful how far you fall in love. Be careful how much of your life you're willing to give up. Be careful how deep into this you're going to get yourself. Be careful on it, because these women have a lot of issues, whether it's Hollywood actresses, whether it's BBC podcasters, whether it's the woman that you married at 22 who has 3 kids and she's been married for 10 years and now she wants to dip out on her husband, whether it's the woman that's getting married and she won't sleep with her husband. It always breaks down amongst all, from Hollywood all the way down to the girl next door. It always breaks down. And so as soon as you are aware of this and are aware of this battleground, then you're safe. And this is your daily reminder to say, stay safe, because very few of these women are ever going to come out of the hole. Me, have ex-boyfriend. He was really the nicest guy I've met, and took me to this, and it took me this long to realize what a positive influence he left. I wasn't ready for him back then, as personal life drama made maintaining relationships impossible. So she dumped him. Look him up for the first time in 8 years. Now he's with a girl and traveling to all the places he and I talked about traveling to. She's 12 years younger than him. Why do men do this? That is such a beautiful summary. It's a one-way dead end street in every one of these instances. And sometimes the one-way damage starts very close to the end, but more often than not, it's starting way, way earlier, to the point at 22 years old with families and mothers, they're broken. It can start early or it can start late, but almost all of them end up single, alone, broken, and they all thought at one time they had the world. It's such a running theme on my channel, to the point where you guys are probably tired of seeing it. That's why I'm trying to expand out and do other content. But you still need the reminder that nothing's going to change for you. Nothing's going to change for society. Nothing changes. You think you're going to find that unicorn. You think you're going to find the wife, the mother of your kids. None of it changes. None of it changes. All right. Next, I'm going to be jumping into Grok. And Grok has done an analysis on our favorite train wreck of a dating coach, dating relationship expert, my sweet Yana Hawking. Do you know she responded to the last video I did about Yana Hawking? She went on her Instagram and posted just clippets of my video. She didn't make any commentary over it. She just posted little clips of my commentary. And she didn't do that. There was no counter argument. She didn't say anything. She didn't really type much. She just posted it. So all her little simp vampires could come out and call me a horrible man and make her feel good so she could sleep at night. And she would feel so much better because she was able to get all the love and affirmation from her little Instagram slugs that crawl out of the... I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. As a matter of fact, I find that hilarious and funny. But it does go to show you that for hating me so much and saying I'm so irrelevant so much, she sure is paying attention to what we say about her. And so for that, I'm going to say a little bit more about her. But I'm going to only do this over on betterbachelor.locals.com. Links are literally right below the comment, like, share that you see, right down below that, betterbachelor.locals.com. You can pause the video at any point. Go over there, become a supporter. It's $5 a month. You get to check it out. You get some custom content. You get movie nights. You get UFC fights. You're going to get football. We're going to do football streams where we all sit around, eat chicken wings, and drink beers and watch some sports together like men. Anyway, go over and check that out. In the meantime, I'm going to flip this over to locals supporters only in just a minute, and then we will carry on. So for you local guys, hang around, you local gentlemen, and we will be picking it up in just a moment. And the rest of you, well, you're going to have to go pound sand because we're going to do this for the supporters only.